Good morning, everyone. Well, as expected, it did get quite stormy in far eastern Nebraska yesterday evening. Take a look at the storm reports that we got in. Notice they don't start until you get east of York, east of Columbus, because that's where that line of storms really got its act together. Very heavy rain coming down, lots of lightning. That was probably the big headline. But there were reports of hail, multiple reports showing up, mostly of quarter-size hail. That was what was most commonly reported. There were some strong wind gusts, but fortunately not too much damage. It was mostly reports of some tree limbs down, a little bit of roof damage, but nothing widespread, nothing significant. Probably the scariest thing were the multiple tornado warnings that got issued. That was because there was some rotation being indicated within that line of storms, but it looks like that in most locations that rotation never reached all the way down to the surface. There is one place, though, we're going to have to take a closer look, and that's near the town of Logan over in Iowa. No confirmation of damage, but we did get one other indication on radar that this might have been something more significant. Not only was there rotation in that thunderstorm, but we were also getting something known as a tornado debris signature, which indicates some damage might have been being done. So the Weather Service is going to take a closer look at that to see if it was a tornado or maybe not. All right, so let's talk about some quieter weather. Although the wild thing is, after the record high temperatures yesterday, reaching the low 90s in far eastern Nebraska, there's actually a possibility of a little bit of snow early this morning. Now, it's probably more likely going to be rain, but technically it could be a rain-snow mix. I think the greater chance is probably north of Lincoln and Omaha, but you see that shade of pink showing up in blue. It is a possibility this morning. I think more likely what you're going to encounter for the morning commute are some light showers that'll be around. Most of the state, though, is going to be dry, and I do think this is just a morning thing for far eastern Nebraska. Those showers will be pushing out of here. Notice lunchtime, everybody's dry in the state. Going to be a windy day. Gusts 30, 35 miles per hour in most places. There could be a few spots to see gusts up to 40 miles per hour, but I think mostly gusts 30 to 35. I think the big story today for eastern Nebraska is just how much colder it is compared to yesterday. Again, low 90s yesterday, and today most probably topping out around 50 degrees, about 40 degrees colder than yesterday, and with a wind chill factor because of those wind gusts. Only other thing to mention for the late afternoon, the homebound commute, I think most are going to be dry and actually seeing some pretty good sunshine, but the cloud cover building back in out west. Could be a little bit of a rain-snow mix for places like Scottsbluff. Isolated activity, though, probably nothing that's going to slow down that homebound drive. So let's jump ahead to tomorrow, and I think the story for tomorrow morning is the cold temperatures in the morning. Below normal for this time of year. We're talking low 30s, eastern part of the state, and then you go out west and you get into the 20s, and yeah, we're talking about teens once again in far western Nebraska. We will warm up in the afternoon, though. Don't look for a significant warm up by any means. Probably the biggest story tomorrow is the winds picking back up. We have to call it another very windy day across the state. We're talking about gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. As far as where the strongest wind gusts are going to be, those gusts up to 60 miles per hour, that's looking like the central part of the state. So if you're in Kearney, Grand Island, over towards North Platte, that's probably where we're going to see the strongest gusts. But even around the Lincoln, Omaha area, out around Scottsbluff, I think those gusts could still reach 50 miles per hour. As far as high temperatures, improvement compared to what we're going to see today, but not significant. Get into the mid-40s in the far western part of the state, where we might also see a few rain showers sneak in the very end of the day, but most of the day across the state is going to be dry. Meanwhile, in the eastern and central part of the state, we're looking at high temperatures, mainly in the mid-50s.